Morning Breakers, hope you're enjoying Brekkie. We got an exclusive IGN interview from the devs about learning from mistakes on Breaker 4, and I want to take a quick look at it. I say exclusive, but most of the info is stuff we've already seen from prior interviews. It seems to be a platform at the moment to acknowledge new Gundam Breaker and the mistakes they made with it, which is kind of cool to see, honestly. As some of you may or may not know, new Gundam Breaker came off the heels of 3 with a new in-house team and some very questionable results. It had some hot hype, and it unfortunately just failed to deliver. This interview in question has Masanori Tanaka, one of the devs that we've heard from in prior interviews, like the Famitsu one, commenting on how much they've learned from the negative feedback of New Breaker and how much they're trying to just avoid that kind of pitfall in Breaker 4. The decision to go for 4 is actually an intentional one, because they're just still trying to distance themselves from New as far as possible. They did the same thing with Breaker Mobile. When we got it over here, they actually localized it as an entirely different name, Gunpla Battle Gundam Warfare, so there wouldn't be any kind of stigma attached with Breaker that North American audiences may have gained from the steaming pile of crap that turned out to be. So they're just going back to the roots. And what do we want at our roots? To take our toy robots that we have put together meticulously and smash them against other toy robots. Now, the interesting thing is they are admitting that they are focusing almost entirely on PvE for this. PvP in New Breaker was a focus, and it was a bit of a mistake. Historically, Breaker has not really dealt with player versus player because it just seems like a mess to balance. We have had prior things like Friend Battle and Mobile or Bounty Hunt mode in 3, but those always came with the caveat of being asynchronous AI-controlled enemies, because there's no real good way to put the action hacky-slashy, wacky-wahoo pizza gameplay of Breaker as it was against another human being and not have somebody have a monumentally bad time. Now, I will not be a New Breaker apologist, but I have gone on record before, and will continue to, that New Breaker actually had some pretty good ideas for how to handle this issue. If I can go off a little side tangent real quick, there's some stuff here that might be considered for the future that I would not hate if I saw it come back. To its detriment, New Breaker only had one game mode. It was a 3v3 mobile-looking thing. You need 6 players or 3 bots to even launch it. The idea was everything was objective and score-based, so if you played to the objective, you could even avoid your opponent and still come out with a clean win, despite any kind of overwhelming superiority in a one-on-one encounter. On that note as well, being points-based means you can go after the chest quests, you can go after the boss quests, you can collect certain parts, and it's not going to matter if the other guy finds you and hits you with a bisect and completely wrecks your day, because your team's still picking up points, and if anything, you might respawn in a better position to come back with, proper positioning or proper objective play. The neutral third-party force also was a great idea to keep the action flowing, keep it constant. Having another giant enemy force to constantly hit your attack button into, kind of cozy. You didn't have to interact with the other team if you wanted to try to avoid that kind of situation, while still engaging in the core parts of the game that felt decent. And what felt not decent? Everything. This is one of the worst cases of game feel I have ever experienced in my life. All these great ideas amounted to nothing when the game felt actively bad to play. Moving, shooting, attacking, using skills, when you could even unlock the damn things. It felt bad. I should not have to feel bad about moving around the stage. I should not have to feel like I do not have control. It is actively punishing me for trying to do cool things. That's what New Breaker was about. So if they want to take those ideas and expand upon them, or throw them in the trash and start fresh and just take Breaker 3 as a template and move forward, I ain't mad. I just cannot overemphasize how terrible this feels to engage with. And for any of you thinking about checking it out, unless you're paying $3 or less, avoid at all costs. And hey, PvE-focused Breaker 4, I'm all for it. Breaker 3 was almost entirely PvE-focused with a bounty hunt mode that was more or less just a parts collector at that point. You could load up other people's builds they uploaded online, and you could fight against them, but you had such an overwhelming advantage in just action economy. It was just to snipe their parts, so you wouldn't have to scrounge a stage for it. I did hear bounty hunts coming back, so that's cool. And they recognize that the Gunpla aspect of it really is the draw. Being able to mix and match and slap and dash and put the goofiest shit together or the coolest thing from your dreams is really the fantasy. The gameplay means nothing if you can't have fun with your toy robot. It's very exciting to read here then that you can expand the customization even farther with multiple limbs like we saw in the network test. You can have 2 different dual-wielded one-hand weapons, a different left arm, a different right arm, new parts from Witch from Mercury, Darabald, Ariel. They know what we want and they're sticking to it. Also acknowledged finally is the Switch performance question. They don't give us the impression that it's going to be running very well on Switch, which is expected. I say not very well, but if it has a stable 30, it'll be more than good enough. And the rumors of a new Switch platform on the horizon? Maybe there's a shadow upgrade in its future. All in all, the article fills me with a lot of hope for this project.